Yusuf from Brazil Muhdatha School. I'm going to teach grade 12. Unit 2, Migration. In this lesson, we are going to discuss some questions about migration, answer some questions about the text. Why do people leave their home countries? Correct some false statements about the articles, and give the opposite of some adjectives. Now, what is migration? If we want to define migration in a general way, this means that the movement from one place to another. While if we are talking about the migration of people, it means the movement of people from their home to another city, state, or country for a job, shelter, or for some other reasons. Let's move to the second slide. Now, why do large numbers of people leave their own country and go to live in a foreign country? Look at the following photo. Residents of Agadir, Morocco left their city after the earthquake of 1960. After the earthquake, yes, this is one of the reasons why people leave their home country. So, natural disasters is one of the reasons. It may include, for example, earthquakes and volcanoes. The second photo, thousands of Irish people left Ireland in the 19th century to find a better life. To find a better life, yes. There was a potato famine, which means a shortage of potato, and potato was the main food for most of the Irish people, so they migrate to find a better life. The second reason is crop failure. Let's move to the third picture. Many people immigrated to the Arabian Gulf after its economic success. Yes, the economic success is one of the reasons why people migrate, but not from, they migrate to this place, like the Arabian Gulf. Okay, now, why do you think many people choose not to migrate to another place? We have some reasons. I have chosen some of them. They want to stay with their, where they have grown up, or for example, they want to stay with their families, or they already have a good life in their city, so there is no need to migrate. Okay, now look at these beautiful pictures. Where are these places? We have a charming nature and great buildings. These are in Ireland. I have said that the people of Ireland, or the Irish people, migrate from Ireland when there was a potato famine. Now look at the second photo. Here, do you know this place? No? Okay. This is Tristan da Cunha. Tristan da Cunha. What is Tristan da Cunha? Do you think that people migrate from it, or they migrate to live in Tristan da Cunha? We will know when we read the article. Here, look at these pictures. Okay, look at this map. We have the map of what? This is the Arabian Gulf. Yes, the Arabian Gulf countries. Do people migrate to live in it, or do they migrate away from the Arabian Gulf? Why do they migrate, and where they come from? Okay, all of this information we will learn from this article. Now, we have a question before we start listening to the article. What was the most important economic activity in Ireland? Of course, the topic of our article today is, why do people leave their home countries? Okay, now we are going to listen to the first part of this article. Try to find the answer while listening.
In the early 19th century, the most important economic activity in Ireland was agriculture. But the farmers were poor and they used old-fashioned methods. because they heard that they could earn 4 times as much abroad. Some farmers emigrated. But between 1820 and 1840, the economic situation in Ireland deteriorated, and in 1845 the potato famine began. Disease destroyed 75% of the year's potatoes, the main food for most of the population. During the next 2 years, 350,000 people died of starvation, and there was a huge increase in emigration. By the end of 1854, a quarter of the population of Ireland had left for other parts of the world.
Okay, have you found the answer? What was the most important economic activity in Ireland? It was agriculture. Now we have some difficult words in this part of the article. The first one, this word means to get worse. To get worse or to become very bad. It is deteriorate. Okay, the second one, to leave your country, to live in a new country. Okay, do you know the word? It's immigrate. Now what's the difference between migrate and immigrate? Migrate means when you leave your own country to live in another one, but you intend to go back home and live there. While to immigrate, it means that when you want to move to another city, but to live there permanently. So you don't intend to go back home. Okay. Now the third word, it means a serious shortage of food leading to great hunger on a large scale. The word is famine. We have said that we have the potato famine. Okay, the fourth one, not modern. When something is not modern, we say it's old-fashioned. Yes. Now listen again and answer the following questions. Let's read the questions. The first one, what was the main cause for the potato famine? The second one, what does the word they in bold refer to? Okay, let's read again, listen again to the recording, then we will answer the questions.
Early 19th century, the most important economic activity in Ireland was agriculture. But the farmers were poor and they used old-fashioned methods. Because they heard that they could earn 4 times as much abroad, some farmers emigrated. But between 1820 and 1840, the economic situation in Ireland deteriorated, and in 1845 the potato famine began. Disease destroyed 75% of the year's potatoes, the main food for most of the population. During the next 2 years, 350,000 people died of starvation, and there was a huge increase in emigration. By the end of 1854, a quarter of the population of Ireland had left for other parts of the world.
Okay, now the first question. What was the main cause for the potato famine? Okay, this is destroyed 75% of the year's potato, the main food for most of the population. Now, what does the word they in bold refer to? Let's read the sentence. But the farmers were poor and they used old-fashioned methods. They, who are they? It refers here to the farmers, yes. Now correct the following sentence. In the 19th century, over 500,000 people died as a result of the potato famine. Over 500,000 people. Is it right? Of course not, it's wrong. Here, in the 19th century, 350,000 people died as a result of the potato famine. So the number is wrong. Let's move to the second part of our article. Tristan da Cunha. We are going to talk about Tristan da Cunha. Now, what is Tristan da Cunha? We have seen the picture of Tristan da Cunha. Now, we will learn some information about this place. Okay, are you ready? Let's listen to the second part.
Tristan da Cunha is a small island in the South Atlantic Ocean. In August 1961, earth tremors started and gradually became more frequent. At the beginning of October, the government decided that the island was no longer safe and the whole population of 268 people was evacuated to a nearby island. A ship picked them up and took them to South Africa. As they passed Tristan da Cunha, they saw the volcano erupt. Later the people were taken to England, where they stayed for the next 2 years. In 1963, the volcanic activity on the island stopped and the most of the people voted to go back. However, not everyone returned. 14 people had adapted to life in England and decided to stay there, and 5 elderly people had died. There were other changes too. 10 couples from the island had married, and 8 babies had been born.
Okay, so what is Tristan da Cunha? Tristan da Cunha is a small island in the South Atlantic Ocean. Now we have some difficult words in this piece of article. Slightly shaken. Slightly, it means a little bit. A little bit shaken. The word is tremor. Now, what's the word that means fitted to a situation? Okay, let me explain the word fitted. Fitted to a situation when you, for example, when you get used to a specific situation or a specific condition, it means adapted. Now the third word, a piece of island surrounded by water, and it means island. Now listen again and answer the following questions. The first one, why did the government evacuate the island? What do we mean by evacuate? Evacuate means empty the island from its people or empty a place from its residents. Okay, now the second one. How were the islanders taken to South Africa? Islanders means the people who live in the island. The third one, what does the word them in bold in the text refer to? Let's listen again, then we will answer the question.
Tristan da Cunha is a small island in the South Atlantic Ocean. In August 1961, earth tremors started and gradually became more frequent. At the beginning of October, the government decided that the island was no longer safe and the whole population of 268 people was evacuated to a nearby island. A ship picked them up and took them to South Africa. As they passed Tristan da Cunha, they saw the volcano erupt. Later the people were taken to England, where they stayed for the next 2 years. In 1963, the volcanic activity on the island stopped and the most of the people voted to go back. However, not everyone returned. 14 people had adapted to life in England and decided to stay there, and 5 elderly people had died. There were other changes too. 10 couples from the island had married, and 8 babies had been born.
Okay, now the first question. Why did the government evacuate the island? Because it was no longer safe. Why is it no longer safe? Because of the earth tremors. The second one. How were the islanders taken to South Africa? They were taken by a ship, yes. Now, what does the word them in bold in the text refer to? Let's read the sentence. At the beginning of October, the government decided that the island was no longer safe and the whole population of 268 people was evacuated to a nearby island. A ship picked them up. Here, them refers to 268 people. It means the islanders. Now correct the following information about the text. We have two sentences here. The first one, the people of Tristan da Cunha were immediately taken from their island to England. Were they taken to England immediately? Of course not. The people of Tristan da Cunha were evacuated. They were evacuated to a nearby island, and from it they were taken to South Africa, then to England. B. The people of Tristan da Cunha went home even though there was still volcanic activity. They went home, all of them? Of course not. The people of Tristan da Cunha voted to go back home after the volcanic activity had stopped. The last part of our article. Before we read it, we have a question, or before we listen to the recording, we have a question. Why did workers move to the Gulf? Yes, we are going to talk about the Arabian Gulf. Yeah. Why did workers move to the Arabian Gulf? Let's listen to the article, then you can answer the question.
The economic success of the 1960s and 1970s saw the Arabian Gulf countries transformed into modern and wealthy states, funded by oil and other precious natural resources such as natural gas. The needs of the oil and construction industries led to a huge demand for skilled workers. Many thousands of people moved to the region to help build high-tech cities all over the Gulf. These workers, from many regions of the world, were able to find a better life and help with the development of the region.
So why did workers move to the region, to the Gulf? They moved there to find a better life and help with the development of the region. Now find words in the text which mean a period of great wealth. It's success. The second one, the process of modernization. The process of modernization is development. Now the third one, economic activity concerned with raw materials and manufactured goods. What is the word? It's industry. Now listen again and answer the following questions. Let's read the questions. What funded the states of the Arabian Gulf? Funded, it means supplied by money. The second one, why were there a huge demand, demand means need, for workers in the Arabian Gulf countries? Let's listen again, then we will answer the questions.
The economic success of the 1960s and 1970s saw the Arabian Gulf countries transformed into modern and wealthy states, funded by oil and other precious natural resources such as natural gas. The needs of the oil and construction industries led to a huge demand for skilled workers. Many thousands of people moved to the region to help build high-tech cities all over the Gulf. These workers, from many regions of the world, were able to find a better life and help with the development of the region.
So what funded the states of the Arabian Gulf? Have you found the answer? It was funded by oil and other precious natural resources such as natural gas. Now, why were there a huge demand for workers in the Arabian Gulf countries? The needs of the oil and construction industries led to a huge demand for skilled workers. Now we have to correct the following statement. Okay, the Arabian Gulf countries experienced an economic failure, so the workers had to move away. They experienced, or the Arabian Gulf countries experienced an economic failure. Of course not. They experienced an economic success. And this requires large numbers of workers. Now we have finished the text. Let's move to another thing. Find adjectives from the article that have the opposite meaning to words from A to E. The first one is tiny. Look at this picture. This is ant. Yes. The ant is a tiny insect. Tiny means very small. Why look at the second picture? Here we have a gate. A gate? Yes. The gate is a big door. Or it's huge. So the opposite of tiny is huge. Now let's move to the second adjective. Modern. Okay, look at this TV. Here we have a modern TV. But the second picture is not modern. We say this is an old-fashioned TV. So the opposite of modern is old-fashioned. Okay, let's move to the third adjective. Late. Okay, if we have an appointment, for example, at 5 o'clock, and you come at 6 o'clock, we say that you are late. But if you come at 4 o'clock, we say that you come early. So the opposite of late is early. Now, the adjective is young. Look at this boy. This is a young boy. But those people are not young. We say they are elderly. Yes, so the opposite of young is elderly. Rare. Look at this. Do you know this animal? This is the koala. Yes, and it's a rare animal, which means that we have a few of them, and they are in danger of being extinct. Look at the second picture. Here we have a man, and he goes to the market every day. We say that this is a frequent activity. So the opposite of rare is frequent. Thank you very much for watching me, and many thanks for those who has attended my lesson to the end.